Well, welcome everybody to another segment of Lewis at Large. Yours truly, Warner Lewis from the Flight Deck, and as always, some smart talk radio is in your future. And this segment, very pleased to have an old friend of the show, Denise Winston, one of America's true money experts. She has very, very timely advice for you, a little bit about your money. We'll talk of some observations maybe on the economy, where that thing might be headed, but most importantly, kind of ways to think about your money, how to manage your money. She is the co-founder of MoneyStartsHere.com. She is a frequent speaker and a guest on numerous network shows, as well as speaking across the country live and holding seminars. Denise, my good friend, how are you?
I am wonderful. It is such a pleasure to be here with you and everybody listening today.
Well, we have not had you on for a while. We've been a little bit remiss, but let's do this. It is 2017. The last time we talked, the country was still kind of in a state of recovery from the very difficult times of 08, 09, and 2010. How are things, do you think, right now for the American consumer overall?
You know, a lot of reports are showing the uptick, and what alarms me is when I start seeing credit card offers being sent to my mailbox again, and everywhere you hear on the radio, hey, take out a loan to, go on vacation or pay off your credit cards. This is where it starts scaring me a little bit, because I feel like we've got another problem coming. People are starting to release their reins a little bit, feel a little more confident. Stock market's been going up. So there's a lot happening, but I think healthcare is one of the big things that I think is the silent sleeper that might come up and really grab us over the next 3 years and really cause some problems for a lot of people out there.
Yeah, there's no question. And I think if you look probably into the world of home lending and mortgages, some of the same kinds of things may be creeping back into the marketplace as well. Would you agree?
I absolutely agree, and that's what terrifies me. And we've got car loans being done for 72 months. We've got mortgages now for 40 years. And they're even the debt to income ratio is the biggest thing from a banker perspective. And this is one of the things that I created my online courses for, because people simply they make misinformed decisions because they're uneducated or undereducated about the options. But when you go to a lender and they qualify you for a mortgage, most people walk in and they say, how much do I qualify for? Normally, the consumer doesn't know what their debt-to-income ratio, or let alone have a budget. So they walk in and the bank will qualify them for a loan, but unfortunately, the lenders are not taking in consideration that according to the Affordable Care Act, 9.5% of your gross income, if your premiums are not more than 9.5% of your gross income, you can afford health insurance, and that's even with a $6,000 deductible and copays that are outrageous. So a lot of times what's happening is people are getting into these, loans even for cars and for houses and not taking into consideration. The bank says, you can afford it, but that person really hasn't done or doesn't understand what's truly happening and what could happen over the next 3 years if there is a medical situation in their future.
Well, again, Money Starts Here. You're the co-founder of that. Let's go back a little bit for those of you that may not be familiar with all of Denise's work history. Tell us a little bit about how you got into that and why this subject you're so passionate about, just the whole idea of the consumer finances and economics.
So basically, 25-year banker, and think about this. I was a banker for 25 years. I just pull back the curtain and you look into everybody's personal financial lives. You see every credit card transaction, every debit charge, every credit card charge. You do loans for people, and you sit down with them. And for 25 years, you see what people know and what they don't know about money and how financial stress impacts their personal financial life. We know that money is, no surprise, a leading cause of divorce in the United States. And the research shows that when you're financially stressed, not only does it, reduce your IQ and, create blood pressure problems, but it suppresses your immune system, which makes you sick, which makes you go to the doctor, which drives up healthcare costs for employers and for the employee. And what we also see from the research, according to Harvard, is that one of the leading causes of bankruptcy is actually medical. So when we look at the overall impact that the lack of financial literacy or the lack of financial independence and security, that right there, number one, from an economic place from all of us, that limits an individual's purchasing power and their ability to secure basic needs. And when somebody is financially stressed, again drives up healthcare costs, which impacts businesses' profitability. A lot of times, somebody that is financially stressed got lots of stories to share about how, one financial mistake causes them to have a collection on their credit report. They go to get a car, and now they can't get a car, so they lose their job and they end up on public assistance. So oftentimes it drains the public resources, and overall, this restricts our economic growth. So to me, there's a huge, opportunity, and what's great is I've been doing this now for 7 years, running financial wellness programs and financial literacy programs. But in the past year, there has been a huge increase in, not only my programs, but just financial wellness and financial literacy across the nation. And so, that drives me. I'm actually, two fun facts about me. One is now, since we've talked, I am a Guinness World Records financial literacy program creator and presenter, and I'm also known as one of the cheapest people in America, according to Reader's Digest. So,
wow.
I love what I do. I know it's been fun. It's been a fun ride, and I really feel like the traction is there, and we're really making a difference. But, circling back, this is really an economic growth, and, working with economic development centers throughout the country, and speaking and giving presentations just on financially stressed employees and the impact it's having on our economy and our communities.
Denise, what quick sidebar here? What goes into what qualifies you as one of the cheapest people in America?
Well, I love to have fun. So Reader's Digest did a story, and whenever I like to eat out, and we eat out for all kinds of reasons, but we have a rule. And so they were doing a story, and they were getting some of my tips, and basically eating out. There's 4 strategies that I use if I'm going to eat out to get the best deal. I could share a couple of them if you want.
Please do.
So first of all, you can go out, you check the clock. So you look there's happy hours out there, and happy hours aren't just for alcoholic beverages. They're everywhere from Sonic to Taco Bell sometimes, and restaurants. So I go there, but usually if you can go to a store like Costco or a big box store, you can buy discount gift cards at a discount. So you pay $70 or $80 and you get $100 worth of gift certificates. So number one, you go to buy discount gift certificates, then you go to the restaurant and you go during happy hour. And of course, I paid for that discount gift card with a credit card that has rewards points. And then when you get your bill and it says, do you want to complete this survey? Then you do the survey. So the next time you come in, you get either $10 off your next, meal, or, I just like to have fun. Let's cut our restaurant bill. The reality is we all spend money about, 8 to 10 financial decisions every single day. And if you're going to do it, everything from saving money at Starbucks to the grocery store to shopping online, there's all kinds of ways to have fun with money. And it doesn't have to be a snore fest.
So that $42 bone-in ribeye ends up costing you about, what, 12 cents?
It depends. If you went for the 2-for-1, there's so many ways you can have fun. And you can take a 30-second commute to your computer, and, there's Groupons and all kinds of stuff, discounts everywhere. And so we just have to be smart. We have to be smart consumers because, gosh, that paycheck and that net pay, and especially, I know you've probably got a lot of baby boomers out there, and there's a lot happening in that space. We have to make our money go a lot farther because our lifeline and our life expectancy is getting up there too, right?
Indeed. Again, if you just joined us, yours truly, Warner Lewis from the flight deck of Lewis at Large Radio, and talking to an old friend of the show, Denise Winston. Wait a minute. We're talking to Denise Winston, who has been a friend of the show for a long time. She's not an old friend, but she's the co-founder of MoneyStartsHere.com, one of America's leading experts on money management, particularly for you as an individual consumer. Denise, we've talked about this a little bit in the past, but fundamentally, how do we as Americans maybe look at money in the wrong way, so to speak, and what are some of the things we do right?
I think one of the biggest things, and the course that I have now it's called Budgeting Every Dollar Has a Job. And as I've been doing financial education for, I hate to even say probably about 30 years, the one thing that we miss oftentimes is that making the correlation when we go to work, whether we own our own business or whether we go to work for someone else, when we show up, we have a job to do within that organization in order for things to get done and people to accomplish the goals and, meet the needs of the consumer. And we need to look at our money, that every dollar that comes into our bank account has a job. And we need to be the boss of it. So some of that money may be in an account just sitting there waiting for us to take vacation. Its job is to help us feel like, when we take that vacation, we don't have to worry about it. Or maybe it's there, that dollar job is to, put a roof over our head or clothes on our back or, fuel in our car. So many times that all of those employees show up into our bank account and they just run wild like a crazy, they're engaging in risky financial behavior, just like, teenagers, if you don't tell them exactly what they need to do and keep an eye on them, our money can really get away from us. So I think the biggest thing we miss, because we don't teach this in our society. We don't teach it in our schools. And if you do, or if we do, it's, from a 3-inch book. And my experience has been, people don't learn that way. People want to talk to me about my money. So when we look at it and just say we've got money that, has a job and let's tell it what to do. And also, by the way, let's do a performance review, once a year on that money, just when you're going to reset goals. Number one, that's the thing that I think we miss so often in just learning about how to deal with money and not going back and revisiting across our lifespan, because financial stages do change. One thing we're good at as Americans is we're good consumers. We consume a lot, right?
Yeah, we're good at we're pros at that.
Go ahead.
Well, you had mentioned another thing, and I want to make sure we touch on this. Is you mentioned retirement a little while back, and that is something. Obviously, it's very big on everybody's radar screen. That are certainly between the ages of 55 and 70, somewhere in that neighborhood. Although people retiring and continuing to work much longer these days, but how are we doing overall, and maybe beyond just simple retirement tips? Are there some strategies or thoughts that you have, even for those that are starting later in life, maybe in their professional career, in terms of planning for retirement? What are some things maybe they can do?
Oh, my goodness. The one thing that I spend a lot of my time on is actually employee benefits. If you have a job and if you are working for an organization and they offer you employee benefits, an HSA account, man, it is one of the most underutilized items out there. There's huge advantages to doing that. So, if you have an opportunity to use one of those, absolutely do the research. I have an entire course on it in my financial wellness program for organizations, and even in the stuff I do for the educational public sector, because that is one way that's completely underutilized. So really better understanding, buying, and using your employee benefits can make a huge difference in your capacity and preparedness to, number one, retire. And it's important to know even about, like, sometimes there's supplemental life insurance policies that are available that, when you get early retirement or you go to retire, that may go away most likely. And being prepared for the health insurance piece. That's a big one that we've got to make sure that we're truly understanding. And if there's a 401k match, if there's any way you can contribute to, some type of investment opportunity, that's huge. And just being on top of it. And again, going back to that budgeting piece, if you can right now, get your spending under control, then that really gives you the ability to be better prepared to, retire and retire comfortably and know that, you're going to be secure. Because that's the one thing I have I work with a lot of organizations and know people personally where they, especially sometimes when we're downsizing, and that happens periodically, we've got to be prepared for that. And I think sometimes doing a financial disaster drill, we've got the hurricane that just happened in Houston, really looking financially if that was so horrible. But things can happen in your personal life, right? You could lose your job. You could become disabled. So what would happen if you did not have your income? For how long could you survive? And are you at a position where you might be able to get into your 401k? You've got to be 59 and a half to have access to that. So if you're early, there's some things to think about. So really securing yourself and making sure you're thinking through that, because this is your money. And you can avoid some costly mistakes. You just got to know that they're out there and what to do about them.
We've touched before, obviously, at length, but let's revisit again the subject of credit cards, charge accounts, etc. My sense is Denise Winston has some pretty strong feelings about those.
I do. Credit is one of those things that it's just a harsh reality for us. There's a lot of people out there that, let's not have any credit. Well, it's very hard if you don't have credit to go to the bank and walk in and say, I want to buy a $150,000 home. So, for me, really making sure, again, that you're a smart consumer and that you don't charge anything you eat, drink, or wear. That's one really surefire way to make sure that you stay out of trouble. And one of the tips that I have for people is if you're going to have a credit card, whenever you charge something, log that transaction into your checkbook just like you did a debit card withdrawal and put it in red ink or something so that when you get the bill, you will be able to pay it off. Because if you don't, you're going to end up in debt for many, many, many years, practically a lifetime, because it's so hard to get. It's kind of like gaining weight. It's easy to gain weight, but sometimes it can be next to impossible to lose it, and that's a lot like credit. It's easy to get it oftentimes, but it's awfully hard to pay it off. And, I often say, it's just like a ball and change. And when you owe somebody money, they have a right to a portion of your paycheck until it's paid off. So, again, this is your money, and you work hard for it. So making sure that you don't give it all away before, just in making your payments, you deserve to put some of that money away for you first. You should be at least saving 10% for yourself because you worked hard for it. So putting that money away before everybody else and making sure you don't get in over your head is key to that. There's something to be said. We deliver, the company that I founded, The Money Starts Here, we deliver high-value, life-impacting financial education, and it's all in order to help people make smart, confident financial decisions. And that's really what it's about. When you can make a smart, confident decision, something happens within you where you're just like, I got this. And you feel good, and it boosts your confidence, and it shows in all aspects of your life.
What about again those listeners and those that know those that are younger, that are just starting a professional career? Let's say they're out of college or even out of high school or trade school, and they're embarking on a career, and they're in their early 20s. Give them some sort of landmark advices and some things that as they can look forward, and what are some of the things they need to do to really help themselves be prepared?
I love that question, Warner. You are so on it. What I love to see right now, I've been doing a financial literacy tour, and the kids right now that are graduating high school, Gen Z, and are graduating college, they are on it. What's interesting is they have seen their parents struggle, and they've been watching very intently over what's been happening in the economy, and they are not going to let it happen to them. So they are asking questions, seeking information, and making very educated decisions so that they don't end up not being able to, they don't want a lot of student loans. For the kids that are out there in school, anything you can do to get a scholarship, anything that you can do to get a grant. What's amazing is there's a lot of grant money out there for financial literacy programs, because these kids, we send them off to get an education to make a lot of money. And then they graduate and they make one decision, like going and buying a brand spanking new car when they get a great job. And they don't know about depreciation, and they don't know about, the interest and the taxes they're paying and all that money that's being pretty much stripped from their bank account and their financial future. So, getting a little bit of education, my book, It's Your Money, Avoid Costly Mistakes, is a great resource guide. It's short read, easy. It's got checklists. You can get it on the bottom of my website, moneystartshere.com, or on Amazon. Take the time, and whenever you're going to go open a bank account, get a credit card, sign loan documents, get a new apartment, upgrade your cell phone bill, all of those things are lifestyle creep that can really get into, interfering with your financial independence and security.
Well, as we begin to kind of wind down here just a little bit, I'd talk a little bit more about when people go to moneystartshere.com and some of the other resources you have. What kinds of resources can they expect to see, get, and glean from what you've got out there?
Well, so first of all, there is there's a financial snack section, which is basically where you can get financial snacks, just a bunch of tips and tricks of all the media stuff that I've contributed to. You can also go there and you can download a financial literacy grant writing guide. So if people are out there looking for funding, a lot of times they have programs where they already have grant funds, but if they added financial literacy to it, they could secure more money. There's also on the employer page a financial wellness solution evaluator that has a lot of information about what I'm talking about just with the employee benefits and that type of thing. Great resource for employers or organizations to really look at the financial literacy and the financial wellness programs that are available out there to them. So we can overall, stimulate and economic growth and create some sustainability for the communities in which we operate.
Well, she is certainly one of our favorites here. Her name is Denise Winston. Do you have a title, like America's Money something or other?
Actually, I've got, right now it's pretty much just the CEO and founder of Money Starts Here, but really I'm a financial wellness specialist. Financial education is my passion, and just really helping people be, again, make those smart, confident financial decisions so they can lead the life they want. That's what I do, and that's who I am.
And the website is moneystartshere.com. It is loaded with resources for you about your money, your family, your future, all kinds of things. Denise, thank you so much for sharing some time with us today. We would love to have you back on again, of course.
I am a fan of yours and everything you guys do. So keep up the good work, and I'll look forward to chatting again soon.
You bet. We'll be back with more right after this on Lewis at Large.